So we're going to press Shift A, search for Mesh, Icosphere, subdivide it 5 times. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. We're going to select it, right click, and shade smooth. Now we'll hit Shift A, search for a light, point light. We'll move it down the X a little bit, up on the Z, and then over on the Y slightly. Then if we go to our camera view, select your camera, switch the focal length to about a 100 or a 102 in my case. Then if we go to rendered preview, we go back to our light selection, switch the watts to 1000, and then we're good to go. Next, we'll head over to the shading workspace. Make sure we set our viewport up like this. We have the 3D viewport on the left, the shading workspace on the right. Make sure that you go up here and select object. Next, in the 3D viewport, we're going to go to our camera view and go to rendered mode. Then in the shading workspace, we'll make sure that we have our icosphere selected. We'll press new. Then we'll type in Rust. Mine says Rust 001 because I've already done this before, but yours will just say Rust and it doesn't make a difference. Next, we'll hit Shift A, search for a noise texture, like this. Then we're going to go to Edit, Preferences, search for the Node Wrangler add-on right here and make sure you have it checked. Then with the noise texture selected, you'll press Ctrl T. Take this object into the vector instead of generate it. Then if we Ctrl Shift left click on this noise texture, we can preview what's going on. Then we're going to switch the detail to a 16 and the roughness to a 0.7. So we get some more detail going on here. Next, we're going to move this over a little bit to give ourselves some more room. Press Shift A and add a color ramp. Plug the factor from the noise texture into the color ramp. And then we're going to go ahead and put the plus sign twice on the color ramp. And now we have 4 nodes. Then we're going to plug in the values you see on your screen now for each of these nodes, the hex values and their positions. And you should also be seeing a color ramp on your screen of what an example one will look like once you've plugged in those values. Now that you've plugged in those values and gone in positions, this is what it's looking like. The first one, 0.25, 0.35, 0.632, and 0.669 with their respective hex values. Next, we're going to hit Shift A, search for another color ramp. Then we're going to plug the color from the previous into this one. Control Shift left click to preview, and it's looking like this. We're going to take this black value and go to the HSV and switch the value to a 0.5. Next, we're going to hit Shift A, search for a bump node. Take the color from the original color ramp with all the oranges, plug that into the height. Then we're going to switch the strength to a 0.5. And if we Control Shift left click to preview, we can see what's going on with the bump, like this. Next, we're going to take the color from the original color ramp, put it into the base color of the principal BSDF, take the color from the second color ramp, put it into the roughness, take the normal from the bump and plug it into the normal of the shader. And if we Control Shift left click the shader, we have our Rust material in its final form. And now that we've finished the Rust, I'm going to go ahead and show you something that you can change. This is made to display properly, but on some objects, Rust can be different levels of graininess. And so a quick way to change that is you can go ahead and select all the mapping here. If you're working with a super small object, for example, you could up this to like a 10, and then you get a lot more of a grainier Rust, basically. And so depending on the size of the object, you can go ahead and switch this really easily and then bake the material onto your object once you've finished. And it's really simple. And if you want to see what it looks like with 3D lighting, we can go ahead and go up here and turn off scene world. And then we get an HDR going around. This is like a bright sunny forest day. For example, if I go ahead and turn the world opacity up, this is basically the setting that this is around the Rust, and this is what it would look like in that setting. So I think it would look pretty accurate if you had an iron bar or something. Obviously, this is a bit big, so you'd have to go up to like maybe a 10 or even higher than that, depending on the size of the object. If it's a small iron bar or something, or an iron rod that you're using, you may even go up to like a 50, which is what I am using in one of my scenes I'm working on. I'm using a small iron bar. I also have algae on it in addition to Rust. But yeah, basically this is the Rust material. If you'd like a tutorial on how to overlay the Rust with another material, such as like an iron or something like that, I can do a tutorial on that if you don't know how to do it. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you want to know how to do that, and I will see you in the next one.